Well, good morning, Bob.
Good morning, Bill.
It's a bright and cheery Monday morning. We're in the home stretch toward the holidays. Thanksgiving's over with, and
Ho, 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 we're ready.
Well, just hold on a minute now. There's going to be some changes in the new year that I don't know if it's going to be, all kinds of goodies. I don't know if lenders have been nice or naughty. It's better to be naughty than nice.
Oh.
It's certainly more fun. and so let's talk about being nice and naughty in the new year. And we have with us today a new face. He's got an internal nickname. We just call him C. This is Christian Leask. And I'm not actually sure what he does, what he gets paid for, but we're going to find out today.
Hopefully.
He's an FNC, exactly. He's an FNC person. And Christian is like a Ducati aficionado. So tell us about, let's start out talking about Ducatis, all right? Tell us about Ducati motorcycles.
Ducatis.
I'm not sure they're motorcycles.
They're motorcycles.
They're like beyond motorcycles.
A Ducati is commonly referred to as a cathedral on wheels, Bill.
Really?
It is.
That's awesome. Why is it called that?
Because it's big and slow.
It's actually the experience you get when you're around 145 miles an hour on a Ducati is close to religious.
It's big and slow. Well, I guess
It's
140 miles an hour.
It's a
It probably is
cathedral
close
on
to
wheels.
religious. Okay.
And there's probably a high correlation between the number of people that attain that speed and then services shortly thereafter.
I got you.
That's my theory.
That's probably true. All right, so let's talk about what's going to happen after these lenders are exposed to collateral underwriter. Are there going to be services thereafter or not?
There might be some services thereafter. Hopefully not if they're using our platform.
So let's talk about first what is going to happen with collateral underwriter sometime in January. I think it's 26th.
January 26th.
And then also there's some hard stop rules that are going into effect. Let's
That's right.
talk about that.
Sure.
And go from there.
You bet.
And tell us if it's going to be naughty or nice.
So on January 21st, two unique events are going to happen. at the
January 21st?
January 26th.
Okay, well,
So
5 days might matter to some people, not to you, obviously.
numbers,
but it
you
might
know,
matter. It might matter.
So my Mississippi education, I'm bad with numbers. I just
Okay.
kind of round them around.
Okay, it's all right.
So on January 26th, 21 messages are going to get promoted from a warning severity to a hard stop severity.
What does that mean?
That means lenders are going to have to interact with those messages. They're receiving those today.
So they're getting them today, but it's just like a warning. It's like, okay, don't do that
It's
again.
just feedback. This is quote unquote the seller being informed by the investor on what the investor thinks is
Are
important.
these big issues or little issues or what kind of issues
So
are there?
I looked into that, Bob, and over the last year, those 21 messages account for about 0.07%.
Is that a little bitty?
That's a little bitty.
Okay, so
Even
not
in
even,
Mississippi
not,
math,
not
that's
even
pretty
1%
Not even
of the
1%.
messages. Of course, my guess is those messages are probably concentrated among a few lenders.
My guess would be
Probably. So this is like to probably like remove the tail. If you're the tail being the really, really bad stuff, right?
right.
So let's talk about there's categories of rules and the score and all that stuff. Our viewers may not be familiar. They're sort of like flying on an airplane. They teach you how to buckle your seatbelt. If you haven't been on an airplane since 1958, then you need to know how to buckle your seatbelt. Well,
right.
they may not have been paying attention, some of them, and so talk to us about what we're going to see as part of Collateral Underwriter come January 26th.
So we're going to see a few interesting new things with Collateral Underwriter. First and foremost, Collateral Underwriter is going to return a risk score.
Okay?
That risk score is a 1 to 5.
That's a number.
It's just a number.
All right.
They're
What is
gonna-
one good?
1 is the best,
5 the worst.
5's the worst.
All right.
So that's important to note. The best appraisal in the world,
A 1.
the world's best appraisal will get one message back from UCDP, and that's going to be a Fannie Mae 1000 risk score of 1.
Risk score 1. All right.
They're also going to include some flags.
That was going to be mine.
That's your next question.
No. That 1 is going to be mine. It's not a joke. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So they're going to return some flags. There'll be property eligibility. There'll be overvaluation. There'll be data quality flags.
Okay. Actually, I won't get a 1. I might get a 6.
But what if they get a 4? What difference does it make?
So that's a
Still
good
going to buy?
point.
Fanny still going to buy?
That's a good point. Every single warning that's coming back in UCDP, driven by CU, is just a warning.
Okay.
It's nothing more than feedback. They're not hard stops. They're not going to impede.
So they still buy a 4.
They'll still buy a 4.
Still
Okay.
buy 5.
Good. I'm in good
You're
shape.
in good shape.
Exactly.
What Fannie Mae wants to see the lenders do is if there's a high score, and they haven't shared exactly what the number high is, but if there's a high score, simply perform a human review.
Some people
That's their
think
advice.
high means a different thing.
And it's interesting. I spoke with one of our clients who's a pilot a couple weeks ago.
Airplane
And-
pilot?
No, he's a pilot on
Oh,
the,
pilot in
on
the-
the Fannie
in the
Mae
deal.
CU
Okay, sorry.
pilot program. And he does a lot of business in Milwaukee.
All right.
Milwaukee's got some pretty unique properties. The Fannie Mae tool returned a 5 on a property that was perfectly appraised. The reason it returned a 5 is because there were simply no comparables available.
Okay.
The closest comparables were tract housing,
All right.
so many miles away.
Okay.
Sounds
So
like Fannie needs some better data.
let's talk
I know
about
someone they can talk to.
let's talk about that whole discussion. So an appraiser sends an appraisal to a lender and they upload it to Collateral Underwriter or right, actually the Uniform Collateral Data Portal,
That's right.
UCDP, and they get a Collateral Underwriter score.
That's right.
They're also going to get 3 sets of warning messages, right? Potentially.
right.
And let's talk about those 3 sets. What are those 3 sets?
So those 3 sets are overvaluation,
Okay.
data integrity,
All right.
and property eligibility.
Okay. So those 3 sets of warning messages, do any of those have to be addressed by the lender, or are they just all warnings?
They're all warnings.
Okay. Now there's a separate set of hard stops over here.
That's right.
That do have to be addressed.
That's right.
Right? And is that just going to make it more difficult for the lender, or have you got a way to automate that?
Well, that depends if they use FNC's direct integration. If they use FNC's direct integration, we'll be able to automate that process.
So it'll just be, they won't have to do anything,
we
once
don't
you
have
touch
to
it.
do anything. That's right.
That's good. And so let's talk about that. The recommendations to do a review. Is Fannie going to check to see if they did a review?
Fannie doesn't have the ability to check if that lender did a review.
Because it's not workflow.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're just going to, it's basically, it's a site, you upload that information and you do your thing, get your number, and they tell you to do a review. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
That's right.
You just send that thing in. And so our lender clients need to know that we have the workflow covered, and they need to know that we have that documentation covered. It's more than just workflow, it's also documentation of the
That's right.
process you went through.
That's right.
So let's say they get back a 5, and so they're supposed to do a review on that. And whether they do a review or not, Fannie doesn't know, but are they then required to resubmit that if they get a 5, or the
They're
original is fine?
That's up to the lender.
Okay,
That's up to
so
the
if
lender.
the,
That 5 can come back with a successful submission status.
So,
Okay.
so let's talk about that. That's another thing a lender cares about is a successful
That's right.
SSR, a successful submission status. And so to get that, now we've talked about 2 different sets of things. One are the collateral underwriter associated rules coming from the Uniform Collateral Data Portal, UCDP. And we're talking about the 21 hard stops. The 21 hard stops, the lender has to clear
That's
those before they get a successful
That's right.
SSR, right?
Completely
So those are
separate.
far more important to the lender. I know there's a lot of press about collateral underwriter, but these hard stops, which
That's
have
right.
been very quietly put out there, they're far more important to the lender.
That's right. They're far more important to their workflow.
Can
their
they-
day-to-day operations.
Can our clients email you, call you if they have a question?
Absolutely.
You are CLEASK, L-E-A-S-K, C-L-E-A-S-K at fncinc.com, right?
That's right.
And so this is Christian Leask. He is our manager. I don't really know what he is, but anyway, he gets paid to be our Ducati expert and also to take care of you on these kind of matters. So this is FNC's Morning View. We're out of time. We're happy to have you, Christian.
Thank you, Bill.
I'm Bill Raven with Bob Dorsey. You all have a fantastic week. Goodbye.
right.
Bye-bye.